Have you ever laid there in the quiet of night, eyes closed, lights off, the room still, but your mind still turning? You've done everything right. The day is done, the bed is warm. But sleep doesn't come. Not fully, not deeply. You shift, not because of noise or pain, but because something inside hasn't settled. The hours slip by. 1 o'clock, 2. You glance at the clock again and feel that familiar heaviness, not in your eyelids, but in your chest. Another night slipping through your fingers. Another morning will come, heavy-eyed, foggy-headed. And once again, you'll reach for coffee. Not because you crave it, but because you need it to get through. If this feels familiar to you, if you've laid there, motionless on the outside but restless on the inside, know this: you are not alone. And more importantly, this is not how it has to be. Many people over 60 quietly battle their nights, not with loud suffering, but with soft, quiet exhaustion. They wake up more often, they don't feel refreshed, and they start believing, maybe this is just how aging works. But that's not the full story. You don't have to accept restless nights as your new normal. You don't have to surrender your sleep to time, because deep sleep is not gone. It hasn't left you. It's waiting for the right invitation, the right care, the right rhythm. And tonight, we're going to talk about exactly that. Not pills, not pressure, just quiet truth. We'll explore what happens to your sleep after 60, why your nights feel fractured, and how your body still remembers how to rest, if you know how to listen. We'll walk through small, meaningful changes, ones that don't require effort as much as gentleness, because the goal isn't just to fall asleep, it's to return to the kind of sleep that feels like healing, like peace, like home. And if you find comfort in this kind of space, if it feels good to be understood, gently and honestly, then take a second to pause with us. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next soft conversation. Click like if this opening moment speaks to something real in you. And share a comment below, just a few words, to let us know how your nights have been lately. You're not just a viewer here. You're someone we're speaking directly to. Someone whose rest matters, because the night still belongs to you. And deep rest, real, nourishing rest, is not something you lost. It's something you can find again. Starting now, it's tempting to believe that sleep after 60 simply fades, that your body no longer remembers how to fall into those long, uninterrupted nights. But the truth is gentler than that. Your sleep isn't gone. It's just evolving. Your body, even now, is still trying to help you rest. It hasn't stopped working. It's just asking for something a little different. As you age, your internal chemistry quietly shifts. The hormone melatonin, which used to rise naturally as the sun dipped below the horizon, now arrives more slowly, more faintly. The signal it sends, "It's time to sleep now," is softer, more easily drowned out by the hum of lights, television, or late-night thoughts. Your circadian rhythm, the inner clock that once ticked steadily between sunrise and sunset, becomes more fragile. It can be knocked off balance by something as simple as a late nap, an evening snack, or too little morning sunlight. You may still feel sleepy at night, but the timing feels off. You go to bed earlier, wake up before dawn, and wonder why your body won't just stay asleep a little longer. And then there are the quiet interruptions. A trip to the bathroom that breaks the night in two. A joint that aches when the temperature drops. A vague unease that settles in your chest as you lie still. Memories of things unfinished. Worries about tomorrow. Or simply a sense that something inside is unsettled. These moments are not loud, but they are persistent. They pull you out of rest just enough that you notice the ceiling, the silence, the ticking clock. Your sleep also becomes lighter. The deep, slow waves of non-REM sleep, the ones that leave you feeling truly refreshed, become shorter and less frequent. You may drift in and out of light sleep without even realizing it. You may wake and fall back asleep quickly, yet still feel exhausted in the morning. It's not that you're not sleeping. It's that the quality of your sleep has shifted in ways that aren't always obvious, but deeply felt. And daily life has changed too. You may move less now. There might be fewer errands, fewer stairs, fewer reasons to walk briskly across the room. And without that movement, your muscles don't tire the way they used to. Your body doesn't signal sleep with the same clarity when it hasn't been used fully. Your days are quieter, and so your nights become more restless. Even food begins to play a more subtle role. Your digestion slows. A heavy meal close to bedtime lingers, not just in your stomach, but in your sleep. Caffeine hides in places you might not expect. Chocolate, tea, certain medications. and its effects can last for hours. Sugar, too, can spike your energy at the wrong time, keeping your brain more alert than it needs to be. Without realizing it, what you eat and when you eat it is shaping how your night unfolds. And so, night after night, it begins to feel like sleep is slipping away. But it's not. It's simply responding to everything that surrounds it. Your body is adjusting, not failing, not giving up, but asking for a different kind of support. One that is slower, one that is softer, one that meets you exactly where you are now. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not sleeping poorly because you're weak or because you've done something wrong. You're sleeping differently because you are in a different season of life. And that season requires new rhythms. The good news is, your body is still listening. It's still able, and with just a little awareness, a little kindness, you can begin to guide it back to deeper rest. Sleep, even now, can still be peaceful. It can still be whole. You haven't lost the ability to rest. You've simply stepped into a chapter where rest needs to be rewritten. And that new version, it begins with understanding and continues with care. You may have told yourself, it's just a bad night, or I'll catch up tomorrow. But over time, the weight of poor sleep begins to add up in ways you can feel and ways you can't always explain. It starts quietly. A little forgetfulness, a shorter temper, a moment when you find yourself staring at something, wondering what you were just about to do. Your body moves slower, not just because of age, but because rest, the deep kind, hasn't been there to rebuild what the day has taken. Sleep isn't just rest, it's repair. It's the quiet night crew your body sends in to restore the muscles, recalibrate the brain, soothe the nervous system. When sleep becomes shallow or broken, the work doesn't get done. And so you wake up not just tired, but unfinished. Your muscles may feel achy, not because you did too much, but because they didn't recover. Your joints may feel stiff, your balance less sure, because your nervous system didn't get the downtime it needed to reset. That stumble in the hallway, that drop of energy in the late morning, it might not be just aging. It might be exhaustion wearing a quiet disguise. And it's not only physical. The emotional impact of poor sleep often goes unnoticed because it feels like mood. You feel more irritable, but you can't explain why. You feel more fragile, more overwhelmed, and less capable of coping with things that once felt simple. Sometimes you withdraw. Not because you want to, but because everything feels like more effort than it should be. The world feels louder, brighter, faster, and you, moving through it without sleep, feel just a step behind. Your memory can also begin to fade around the edges, not in dramatic ways at first, just in little slips. You forget where you placed something. You repeat a story without realizing. You pause mid-sentence, searching for a word you've always known. These moments can be unnerving, but when sleep is restored, many of them soften. Your brain, like your body, relies on the night to sort, store, and clear. Without deep sleep, it holds too much all at once and becomes slower, heavier, clouded. Even your immune system listens to your sleep. After a night of rest, your body sends out signals to strengthen its defense. But after many nights of light sleep or frequent waking, the body begins to prioritize energy over immunity. You may catch colds more easily. Your wounds may take longer to heal. Your body, spread thin, chooses survival over strength. And that's what prolonged sleep loss does. It steals from the places that once kept you grounded. And still, many people brush it off. They think, I'm just getting older, or that's just how it is now. But that belief is not only unfair, it's harmful, because it silences the body's signals. It teaches you to ignore fatigue, to normalize fogginess, to live inside a body that is quietly asking for help. What you're feeling is not just aging. It's the slow echo of unmet rest. And when you begin to honor that truth, everything can change. Because with just a few nights of better sleep, even slightly better, you might feel something you haven't felt in a while. Clarity, not perfection, not endless energy, just a steadiness. You move more confidently. You remember more easily. You feel less overwhelmed, more connected, more yourself. And that shift, even if subtle, reminds you what your body is still capable of when given the chance. Sleep doesn't solve everything, but it's the foundation under everything. It doesn't fix pain, but it helps you bear it. It doesn't erase worry, but it makes space to hold it more gently. It doesn't reverse time, but it gives you more life inside the time you still have. And that matters, because the way you feel each morning begins with the night before. And tonight, if you understand what's really happening, what sleep is doing behind the scenes, you might begin to give it a little more care, a little more attention. And in return, you may start to feel more like you again. She was 68 when it all began to feel different. Not in one dramatic moment, but in quiet ways that crept into her nights without warning. At first, it was just a little more tossing, a little more staring at the ceiling. Then came the early mornings, waking at 4 with her mind already whispering worries. Then came the days, foggy, heavy, drawn out. She told herself it was fine, that it was part of aging, that she was still functioning, still getting through. But deep down, something felt missing. She tried the usual things: warm milk, lavender sprays, even over-the-counter sleep aids that promised relief. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. But even when she slept, she didn't wake up feeling restored. It was like eating a meal that looked beautiful, but left her hungry. Her body was there, in bed, eyes closed, but something inside remained alert. And as the weeks stretched on, so did her frustration. She began to withdraw from things she once enjoyed. Conversations became tiring. Walking to the mailbox felt like a task. She snapped more easily at small things. She lost the thread of stories she used to tell so clearly. She felt like a ghost in her own life. Present, but not fully alive. And yet she still believed this was something she had to accept. Until one evening, something shifted. Not dramatically, not loudly, just a quiet decision. She was brushing her teeth, looking into the mirror. And for the first time in a long while, she asked herself not how to sleep, but how to feel whole again. And so she didn't start with sleep. She started with light. Every morning, she stepped outside for 10 minutes, even on cloudy days, just to remind her body when the day began. She stopped drinking coffee after lunch, even though she missed it. She turned off her screens after dinner and read from an old paperback instead. She brought back a ritual she hadn't used in years. A warm foot soak before bed, a few slow breaths, and a quiet thank you whispered into the dark. The first week didn't change much, but something inside her felt less resistant, less tense. The second week, she noticed she wasn't waking up as often. By the third, something strange happened. She opened her eyes at 6:30, and for the first time in months, she couldn't remember waking during the night. Her breath was slow. Her chest felt soft. Her eyes weren't heavy. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. A night that belonged to her again, and that changed everything. Her mornings felt clearer. She hummed while folding clothes. She remembered little things again. Where she put her glasses, who called yesterday. Her body still ached sometimes, but her spirit didn't. She started calling friends back, walking a little farther, smiling without effort, because something had come back. Not just sleep, but steadiness. A kind of quiet energy that reminded her she was still here, still capable, still whole. She didn't follow a strict program. She didn't buy expensive supplements. She just listened. To her body, to her patterns, to what made her feel safe, not sleepy. And in doing so, she found her way back to rest, not as an escape, but as a return. Her story isn't rare. It happens every day, in small, personal ways that most people never talk about. Because healing doesn't always look like a breakthrough. Sometimes it looks like going to bed with less fear, waking with less dread, feeling, even in a small way, that your body and mind are working together again. That kind of sleep isn't impossible. It isn't lost. It's simply waiting, for softness, for rhythm, for care, just like it waited for her. Just like tonight, it may be waiting for you. Maybe you're wondering now, what can I actually do? Not in theory, not in some perfect world, but here, in the life you're already living. Because you've tried things before. You've heard advice. Maybe you've even followed a list or two and felt disappointed when it didn't work. But tonight, the question isn't, what's wrong with you? It's what kind of support has your body been quietly asking for all along? You see, your body isn't stubborn. It's responsive. It just needs consistency, not perfection. And sleep, though mysterious, is not a puzzle with missing pieces. It's a rhythm, a gentle dance. And like any rhythm, it needs cues, signals, softness. Things you can start building into your evenings, one by one. It begins before bedtime ever arrives. The way you spend your morning actually matters more than most people realize. When you step outside early in the day, even just for 5 or 10 minutes, your eyes catch natural light, and that light resets your internal clock. It reminds your body, this is morning, and that simple reminder helps your body know, 12 or 14 hours later, when to begin winding down. If you stay indoors all day, your brain might never get that clear signal, and the sleep cue becomes blurry. But when you move gently in the morning sun, you're already planting the seed for better rest later on. The rhythm continues in the afternoon. Many people reach for caffeine out of habit, long after their body has stopped needing it. That cup of coffee at 2 or 3 might feel like a small boost, but in truth, it could still be in your system come bedtime. Even if you fall asleep, that lingering caffeine can keep your sleep shallow, restless. So try this. Swap one afternoon cup for a glass of water or herbal tea and just notice. See how your body responds without the extra stimulation. As evening approaches, the real preparation begins. Your body loves patterns. So if you can choose one time, just one, that you aim to go to bed each night, your body will begin to adapt. It doesn't have to be strict, but if you sleep at 10 one night, then midnight the next, your body gets confused. When bedtime becomes predictable, sleep begins to arrive more willingly. And the same is true for waking. If you wake around the same time each day, your internal system begins to flow more naturally, and you stop fighting against your own biology. Dinner, too, speaks to your sleep. A heavy late meal can disturb digestion and wakefulness without you realizing it. Try eating just a little earlier. Let your food settle before lying down. Choose something warm, simple, nourishing. Not because it's a rule, but because it's a kindness. You're giving your body time to digest so it can focus on resting instead of processing. Now comes the most delicate part, those final hours before bed. This is where most people rush, or scroll, or numb. But your body is asking for the opposite. It's asking to slow down, to signal to your nervous system, we're safe now. It's okay to let go. You don't need a complicated ritual, just something gentle and consistent. A few deep breaths in the dark, a soft light, maybe a cup of warm water, maybe 5 minutes of stretching. You could write down 3 things you're grateful for. Not because life is perfect, but because the mind needs help finding peace. Gratitude shifts the mind's chemistry. And when the mind softens, the body follows. And let's talk about screens. Not in judgment, but with care. The blue light from phones and tablets confuses your brain. It tells your body it's still daytime, and your melatonin, the sleep hormone, begins to retreat. So, if you can, give yourself 30 minutes, just 30, of screen-free time before sleep. Fill it with anything else. Read, listen to music, light a candle, and sit in stillness. These moments create the soft landing your body craves. And if despite everything you find yourself lying awake, don't fight it. Don't panic. Don't tell yourself, I can't sleep. Because the moment you begin resisting, your body tenses again. Instead, treat wakefulness as part of the rhythm too. If you've been in bed for 20 minutes and you're still wide-eyed, get up slowly. Sit in a chair. Keep the lights low. Breathe. Read a few pages of something familiar. Wait for the feeling of drowsiness to return. Then go back to bed like you're returning home, not starting over. Your bed is not a battlefield. It's a place of return. And when your body begins to trust that rest is possible, even when sleep doesn't arrive immediately, the tension starts to dissolve. And slowly, over nights and weeks, the rhythm becomes your own again. The path back to deep sleep isn't found in extremes. It's found in the ordinary, in the cup of tea, the early walk, the quiet hour, the breath before bed. These choices are small, but their impact is not. Because sleep doesn't respond to force. It responds to care. And each of these moments, light in the morning, rhythm in the evening, calm before sleep, is a way of telling your body, I'm here. I'm listening. You can rest now. And maybe tonight, for the first time in a while, your body will believe you. Maybe, somewhere along the way, you were handed a pill. Not as a cure, but as a relief. Something to help you sleep, just for now. And maybe it worked at first. The nights felt quieter. You drifted off more easily. But as time passed, the rest didn't feel real. You began waking groggy. You started needing more just to get the same effect. And somewhere inside, you wondered, what would happen if you tried to sleep without it? There is no shame in needing help. No failure in accepting support. But you deserve to know that rest can still come from within. That your body remembers how to sleep on its own, when it feels safe, when it feels seen, when it's gently guided instead of forced. You don't have to stop all at once. You don't have to be brave overnight, but you can begin to reduce slowly. You can pair each small step down with a new rhythm, a new ritual, a new form of trust. Some people find support in natural tools, like melatonin in low doses, herbal teas, calming nutrients like magnesium or glycine. But even these are helpers, not solutions. The true shift comes not from what you take, but from what you offer yourself each night. Steadiness, quiet, and a deep message from within. I'm ready to rest. And you are, truly. When you begin to sleep more deeply, even just a little more than before, something beautiful starts to happen. Everything else gets a little lighter. Your mornings don't just feel easier, they feel more possible. Your muscles move with less resistance. Your steps feel more grounded. Your words come more clearly. The world, which once felt a little out of reach, begins to soften around the edges. You may not notice the change all at once, but one day you'll realize you're smiling without effort. You're remembering details without trying. You're more patient, more curious, more open to conversation. It's not just your body that's healing. It's your presence. Sleep touches everything. It supports your immune system. It balances your blood sugar. It strengthens your heart, your focus, your emotional resilience. And when sleep returns, life doesn't just feel longer. It feels fuller. You begin to eat with more awareness. You want to move, not out of guilt, but because your body feels like moving. You engage again, not because you have to, but because you feel like yourself again. You become, slowly, someone who feels steady inside your own skin. And that feeling, quiet as it is, changes everything. Not just how you sleep, but how you live. So here you are, at the end of this quiet journey. Not with all the answers, not with every step perfectly mapped out, but with something softer, an understanding. You've seen that your sleep isn't broken, that your body isn't done healing, that rest is still available to you, not as a reward, but as a right. And maybe for the first time in a long while, you feel that truth settles somewhere deep inside you. Tonight, as you prepare to sleep, maybe things won't feel perfect. Maybe you'll still wake up once. Maybe your mind will still wander. That's okay, because now, you're meeting your night differently. You're meeting it with patience, with rhythm, with care. And that changes everything, because when your body begins to feel safe again, when it knows that you're listening, it starts to let go. It begins to rest, not out of exhaustion, but out of trust. So before you close your eyes, place a hand on your heart. Feel the quiet there. Feel the breath move gently beneath your chest. And whisper to yourself, not as a demand, but as an invitation. You've done enough today. Now let go. Now rest.